Brody, hold on.
Welcome back to the State of the Game, my monthly series on the state of Fall Guys. What's been happening, what to look forward to, and as always, how I feel about it, as if anyone cares. Anyway, here's the rundown of the entire episode, and as always, timestamps in the description to help you navigate to what you're most interested in. So much happened for Fall Guys in the month of March, so without further jargon, let's get right to the big kahuna, the 10.8 Survival Update. The 10.8 Survival Update was released 1 month ago today, on February 28th, 2024. And after 296 days of only having races to create for, the survival game mode is finally here. It brings a fresh aura to creative mode, and honestly, this update is such a large milestone that when it happened, it felt like a new season. Boom. The survival update brings so much along with it that even race rounds are going to benefit heavily. I'll do my best to quickly cover everything in the 10.8 update, but I do have a lot to say, so get ready for a yapathon. Alright, let's start with the new power-ups. Alright, so these were really interesting to me because when you look back on the promotional footage for SS4, they showed us things that were in development, and creative power-ups were a huge focus. They showed us 5 experimental power-ups, as well as the experimental tether game mode where you'd be attached to your teammates. The 5 power-ups they showed us were exploding bursts, double jump, wall jump, a hammer, and a rolling ball, which we already got in 10.6. Oddly enough, I did not say exploding rhinos, nor did I say an invisibility power-up, so I was very surprised when we got the news that it wasn't going to be one of those 4 I already mentioned. I do have a theory that the exploding penguins were reskinned to be party crashers or rhinos due to the confusing nature of it. Think about it. Every time you see a penguin in game, you chase it. Seeing a penguin at this point in the game evokes a chase reaction. Now, what do you do when you see rhinos in game? Well, unless you're on something, you run away as fast as you can in the other direction. It makes way more sense to skin an explosive power-up with something that you would normally run away from rather than chase. But that's just a theory.
A game theory.
Thanks for everything, Matt Pat. What a banger career. Anyway, these guys can be deployed by activating your power-up, and they'll bounce off of walls and other obstacles until they find a player, other party crasher, or blast ball to explode with. Their explosions can also destroy tiles, making them the perfect addition to survival. Level creators can change the amount of crashes you get from the spawner, as well as the cooldown for them. We also got an invisibility power-up, which seems pretty obvious because we've already got a whole game mode based around this concept. These are great in survival as well, as they give you a way to hide and sneak up on players when they least expect it. But it also opens up the ability for something like hide and seek, tag, jinxed, and other mini games where this power-up could really thrive. All that to say, these 2 power-ups expand what's possible to do in creative, and I think everyone can agree that they're a fat W. Which power-up do you think we're getting next? Alright, next up, let's talk about some other gameplay additions that they've added. We've got blast balls now, and you can't have survival without them. They've been in the game since free to play, and they become a survival staple in that time. So it feels super weird to have a survival game mode without these guys. We also got a brand new volcano skybox, which fits the high stakes nature of the survival update. I've seen some great volcano based levels on Twitter, and my favorite 2 up to this point have got to be AO Klim's Volcanic Island Travel and Amethyst T99's Obsidian Peak. We also got individual starting points, which are exactly what they sound like. They allow people to spawn in different spots on your level. Just make sure that when you publish your level, you check to see where those starting points actually are. Next up, we got elimination zones, which are great because now you don't have to fall all the way outside of the world just to respawn. And I'm glad that they added the ability to use these in both race and survival round. If you touch one in a race mode, you'll respawn at your last checkpoint. If you touch one in survival, you're dead. They have customizable opacity, so you can make them completely invisible so as not to mess with the vibe or theme of your level. And they're scalable in all 3 directions, giving players almost everything that they could ever need when it comes to this feature. Now in the future, I'd love to see moving elimination zones, as I feel like that could open the door for so much more ambitious levels from the most talented creators, but I'm glad that we have these now because they are much needed and appreciated. Last but not least, we got the most iconic survival staple ever, the disappearing hexagon tiles. Now we've actually got 3 types of disappearing hexagon tiles that have been added. First off, we got the normal hexagons that disappear when they're touched by a bean and they do not respawn like the ones in Hexagon. For our second type, we have the respawning hexagons that disappear when they're touched and respawn after a set interval like Hexaterrestrial. And finally, we have a timer-based hexagon, which is brand new, and this one disappears based on a set interval that the round creator chooses. And these ones may or may not respawn, and they also don't get affected by things like blast balls or party crashers. Really interesting. I mean, just the 3rd version alone makes for an insane amount of versatility that you can have with these tiles. You may have seen rounds use them as fences that eventually despawn and make the surrounding areas even more deadly. Well, let's have a look at the Mome's Showdown Party. It uses the time hexagons for its own game mode. Periodically, tiles will despawn, forcing players to be cautious of what's beneath their feet, while watching out for the blast balls that other players toss around the arena. Gotcha. Essentially, they've made a better version of Hectic Hexagons, which was in Survival Showdown. And they did all this with just one type, Disappearing Hexagons. The fact that you can customize almost every part of these hexagons makes them better than the ones in the Unity rounds in my opinion. It allows us to make new creations with a part of the game that we're already familiar with. Now, if we can get that object physics tool to help recreate Hexaring or Icy Tiles so we can mimic thin ice, we'd be all set. But for now, I am very happy to have these in creative mode, and I appreciate it, Mediatonic. Okay, let's talk about the new UI features, starting with the ending reward screen. As you can see, there's this translucent gray box behind all the rewards on both sides, and this was most likely to fix the clouds in the background, blocking the fame numbers beneath the medals in the previous update. I like that they've tried something to combat the issue here, but I feel like having a small gray box just around the fame numbers and other rewards would look a lot better. The next small UI change is on the show selector screen. The game modes are now split into 3 distinct categories: recommended, compete, and team games. Could this be hinting at a ranked mode and maybe more frequent team LTMs running at the same time as other LTMs? Time will definitely tell. The biggest UI enhancement from 10.8 is the like and dislike system for all creative levels. After qualifying, winning a creative round, or losing, you'll have the chance to like or dislike the level. You can now see the number of likes a level has from viewing it in Discovery. Likes were on the roadmap with tagging, but tagging actually came first in the 10.7 Shapes and Stickers update. Hopefully these two tools can help the Discovery algorithm be a little bit more not shitty. And speaking of algorithm selecting levels, let's move on to Fall Jam 3. Fall Jam 3 was a mixed bag for sure. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't get a chance to play as many of the Fall Jam levels as I would like because I'd been busy and on vacation, but just hearing about how it all unfolded on Twitter has been a little discouraging to say the least. In State of the Game 2, I talked about how Fall Guys themselves gave us 5 guidelines for how to make a good Fall Jam level. Well, according to Twitter, when this show first came out, there were levels in the playlist that did not follow the guidelines at all. There were also bugs causing what was supposed to be, I believe, a 3-round show, making it go on forever. As you can see, there's fame medals off the screen. And probably the biggest red flag was Crispy Squid's level Skydive getting ripped off by a level named Plat Guys, which was featured in Discovery and then selected in the Playful Pioneers Shuffle. And just for context, I'm not trying to re-stir up old drama, but here are the levels side by side. Crispy's level was made first and was never featured in Discovery nor Fall Jam. And just to get serious for a minute, this message goes out to Mediatonic. It is insanely difficult to create a great round in creative, and Fall Jam is supposed to drive creators to come with their best. But when the round pool is buggy and copycats get featured and you don't even follow your own guidelines, it's going to make creators not want to participate in the future. And if you're going to put all your eggs in this creative is the future basket, you need to really rethink the way that you select levels for future Fall Jams. Now, they did eventually fix some of the issues, resetting the round pool in both shows, I believe. And so the rounds in the official Playful Pioneers show were actually very good. Congrats to those level creators that made it in. And that's around the time that I actually got around to playing Playful Pioneers or Fall Jam 3. And so I did get to experience these levels that I assume were much better than the rounds that we had to start with. In other news, Fall Jam 4 has concluded as well. The theme was prank and troll levels, which I'm sure will make a fantastic show. But it's interesting that they've chosen no cooldown for the Fall Jams, as this one ran from March 6th to March 19th, which was during Fall Jam 3, which is kind of crazy. Maybe they'll be more frequent in the future, whereas in the past, they've been themed and a little bit more spaced out. So we'll see, and I hope they learn from their mistakes on the previous Fall Jam and do much better in this one. Can't put it off any longer. Let's talk about the latest Fame Pass. The new Fame Pass dropped on March 5th under the theme of New Fashion. At least that's what they're calling it. To be honest, it just seems like an unthemed Fame Pass with some skins thrown together, which is fine by me because all the skins in here are pretty dope. Nice. Instead of going through them all one by one, I'm going to flash them on the screen now, as well as the level that you'll get them at so you can see for yourself. And yeah, my favorite skin here is the Neon Bones for sure. Such a nice looking skin. As I'm scrolling through the Fame Pass right now, you might notice some differences from the previous Fame Passes, which I'll go over in a minute. But here's the celebration that you get from buying this pass. And here are the 4 emotes that you get one by one. So as I was saying, this pass is way different than the last 3 that we got. Fame Pass 9 is 300 tiers long. Now, I like to think someone on the staff team saw my poll from a couple months ago and wiped their ass with it. But there is a silver lining though. All the cosmetics have been moved into the first 70 tiers, even the alternate versions, meaning that you should be able to unlock all the skins much quicker and get the value out of your pass faster. And if you do make it to level 71 and beyond, you'll be rewarded with more shards than ever before. Personally, I like the restructure. It's much fairer to people who want to buy the pass for all the skins, but can't dedicate 4 hours a day during double fame just to grind through all 160 tiers. Good change in my opinion. We'll see in the future if it stays like this.
I hope so.
All right, let's talk about the Fall Guys and Fortnite worlds colliding. As you may have seen, UEFN, essentially Fortnite's creative mode, will get Fall Guys assets sometime in late May. This is long overdue since Epic Games bought Fall Guys 3 years ago at this point. It was really cool to see the beans interact with the Fortnite world, and we can even see them using the launch pad and swimming in the teaser. Looking further, from this side panel over here, you can see that all the assets that they're showing us are from Season 7 or SS1 Free-For-All, which is really interesting because we don't even have those themes in the official Fall Guys creative deck. We see things like the bouncy floors from Bounce Party, the SS1 themed bumpers, and the decorations like the banners, fences, cages, and cactus? Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how many Fall Guys assets UEFN has on launch day, and I can't wait to try it out. Alright, so moving on to ranked and mobile, there have been so many leaks and speculations, it'll make your head spin. So basically all I'm going to say here is that we've seen the icons for ranked mode, we have confirmation that the mobile port is being all but finalized and optimized by its developers, and we know that the Fortnite collab is coming soon, and it makes sense to release these two things at the same time to capitalize on marketability. According to our most trusted leakers, Update 11.0 should contain ranked mode, Fall Guys Mobile, and should release in late May of 2024 around the same time as the Fortnite and Fall Guys collab goes live. This will be the biggest Fall Guys update to this point, and it's highly important that this goes well so that Fall Guys can resurrect itself and thrive against the competition. Before we get to ranked, mobile, and that massive 11.0 update, we'll have one more update before then, most likely in mid-April, to clean up what's left on the early 2024 roadmap. I'm going to quickly go through what was on the roadmap and check off what we've already gotten so we'll know what the update 10.9 will have. So the roadmap was split into game updates and creative tools, and I'm going to go in order based on how they were listed originally. Right off the bat, we got 2 new power-ups and a creative game mode from 10.8, so we can check off the first 2. The new skybox, individual starting points, elimination zones, and the ability to scale moving obstacles seems like enough for me to check off the creative customization as well. Obviously, we got the additional shapes in the 10.7 shapes and stickers update. Load time improvements is debatable, to say the least, and I can't notice much of a difference from previous updates, so I'm going to leave this unchecked. Tags for creative levels came in 10.7 and lights shortly after in 10.8. The object physics tool, from what most would consider, has not yet been added, and the discovery page, aside from having lights appear and allowing you to play survival rounds at a party, has not gotten significant improvements nor a matchmaking feature yet. So based on the roadmap and the assumption that early 2024 would end on April 31st, update 10.9 should be right around the corner and contain improved loading times, improved discovery page with a matchmaking feature, and most importantly, that highly anticipated object physics tool. So I can't wait. Alright, last but not least, the rapid fire finale. Let's get it. Button Bashers Royale returned for the first time since Legacy Season 6 385 days ago, and it ran from March 14th to March 21st. Hopefully they'll add more of these ancient LTMs back, especially as we get rounds unvaulted. Speaking of the vault, 2 more rounds have been added unfortunately, bringing the total up to 19 out of the original 82 Mediatonic rounds being vaulted. Bean Hill Zone was vaulted on March 5th, and although there was no issues with the round, people were speculating it had something to do with Sega working on their own mobile battle royale game similar to Fall Guys, and I guess they wouldn't want to have their star character in their main competitor's game. This is really sad because depending on the success of that competing game, Bean Hill Zone and the Sonic bundles may never return to Fall Guys. Puzzle Path was vaulted on March 12th due to issues with the wormholes not working properly for, you guessed it, Nintendo Switch players. But if you ask me, the real culprit of this round is the broken slide physics that make the round almost unplayable. The good news is that this is something that Mediatonic actually has control over and can work on fixing. But to be honest, I hope they don't. Alright, ending on a more lighthearted note, Octopal, Stentric, and others were able to get massive custom lobbies with up to 255 players in them. I'm not exactly sure what caused this, whether it was a bug or a mod. If you have an idea, you can let me know in the comments. Either way, it caused some insane moments that I highly recommend you go back and watch. The games would crash almost instantly, beans would fly around everywhere, and the latency was so bad that the game would force respawn you if you moved too fast.
I just respawned. What is going on?
But on the off chance it was running fine, you get crazy moments like Stentric actually being able to win a race before the server disconnected, and the True Pringle winning one of the largest finals I've ever seen in my life.
Oh wait, True Pringle wins! True Pringle beats 100 players for the victory.
I was out of town, so I didn't get a chance to participate myself, but I was watching the streams when this once-in-a-lifetime glitch happened, and it was truly something to remember. Speaking of something to remember, hit the like button if you enjoyed this recap and forecast of Fall Guys, and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of State of the Game. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Woohoo!